Chapter 13. "Tell you what," said Maisie. "I'll make us some fresh juice and a snack and we can reconvene on the back porch to chat a bit more about this stuff. Metaphysics requires a lot of energy. Are you two hungry?" "Starving," said Max. "Ditto," said Tuesday. "In the meantime, perhaps Max would like to see the garden." "I'll show him," said Tuesday. She led him back past the stairwell, through the cavernous living room, where Max slipped on his shoes, past a smaller room that appeared to be Maisie's tattoo parlor, onto a screened and furnished lanai, out a side door, down some steps, and into some kind of urban farm. Most of the backyard was cultivated in neat circular installations, ringed by large rocks of different species of plants. There were many plants Max didn't recognize, but among those he did were beets, broccoli, cabbages, and carrots. "Permaculture," explained Tuesday, noting the quizzical expression on her friend's face. "Perma what?" "Max, is it just me or am I always having to explain things to you?" "You're always having to explain things," he said, kneeling at the edge of a circle and touching a large white cabbage with a finger to verify that it was real. He had never seen an actual farm before, much less one like this. "Do you really want to know what permaculture is?" I asked, didn't I? Fair enough. Permaculture is a system of growing food based on year-round agriculture that relies on renewable resources and an ecosystem that's self-sustaining. Translated? You let nature take care of you all year while taking care of it without a lot of pesticides. Cool, I love new ideas. Actually, it's really old. It's the way things were done for centuries. What do you think? "I think it's amazing," answered Max, standing back up and inhaling deeply. Just being in the Monday's garden was invigorating. Even the air out here is like food. "I know what you mean. They just let you do this? The city, I mean. They don't like it. Sometimes they fine people. Mom says we'll know the world has truly changed when people start receiving citations for not growing gardens in their yards." "Hey guys," Maisie called as if on cue from the lanai. "Snack is served." The two children ran, laughing, back through the garden, up the steps and onto the porch. Max felt utterly exhilarated and had completely forgotten about his injured eye and ribs. Maisie had set 3 glasses of practically fluorescent green juice and a large plate of cheese and fruit on a glass-topped coffee table. She sat in a wicker chair as Max and Tuesday plopped down on a matching love seat and started feeding their faces. "Wow, this juice is different," said Max. "You don't like it?" said Maisie. "I do like it a lot. It's just really fresh. As fresh as it gets. I just juiced it." Max tasted the strong mineral sweetness of beets and carrots. "Is everything in here from your garden?" "Not everything. The apples and jalapenos are from the Saturday farmer's market, and I grow the wheatgrass on the front porch in a dry spot for better drainage to limit mold." "Wheatgrass? It's a superfood," said Tuesday. "It contains more nutrients than just about anything else." "And it's just grass?" "Yes, basically, it's fantastic for decalcifying your pineal gland," said Maisie. "Doing what to my pineal gland?" asked Max. "Decalcifying it. The pineal gland is your third eye, the seat of mystical power and ancient wisdom traditions that many Hindus still mark with a bindi." She pointed to the center of her forehead. "It's said to be the exit point for Kundalini, the serpent-like energy of enlightenment that travels up the chakras, or major energy points, along your spine. Descartes thought the pineal gland was where the soul resides." "A French philosopher," explained Tuesday. Not everything Maisie was sharing was Greek to Max. Over the course of his paranormal reading, he had encountered many of these concepts before in one form or another. He just had never understood how to apply them in any practical way to his own experience. "Why would I want to decalcify it?" he asked. "Because fluoride, chlorine, and other toxins in our water, food supply, and even toothpaste harden or calcify the pineal gland, making it less functional," said Maisie. "This should be of particular interest to you, Max, given your proclivities. You're saying that certain foods like wheatgrass juice can increase psychic ability?" "That's exactly what I'm saying. In fact, nearly any kind of green leafy vegetable will help, and other things like chemicals decrease it. You are what you eat." "Far out. I always thought food was just food." "Unless it's soul food," quipped Tuesday. "Speaking of, these are really flavorful apple slices, Mom." "The cheddar's good too," said Max. "It's raw," said Tuesday. "Glad you're enjoying everything," said Maisie. "Now let's talk a little about your astral body, Max." "My astral body? Do you realize you often repeat things back to people as a question?" "Sorry, I guess it just gives me time to think so I don't sound stupid." "That's a curious conversational strategy." "I think it's kind of endearing," said Tuesday. "So what's an astral body?" asked Max. "It may be what you saw during your fight. Though I have to admit I've never heard of one popping out in the middle of a crowd like that during broad daylight. Usually they're solitary aspects of our being, confined to our dreams and sometimes daydreams. I see it in my dreams as well. Come to think of it, I was dreaming. I was out cold for a minute there, and then I got up sleepwalking. That doesn't surprise me. Max felt the by now familiar nudging against his leg, reached down without even bothering to look, and set Merlin on his lap for another scratching. Tell me, said Maisie, do you ever see a silver cord attached to your astral body when you're dreaming? A silver cord? You're doing it again. Sorry, well yes, now that you mention it, but it's more like a thin ribbon. It's almost invisible and seemingly can stretch forever. What is it exactly? It's the connection between your waking and dreaming selves. It's made of the same subtle energy as your aura and kundalini. The Taoists called this energy chi. If you can visualize the silver cord right now, where would you say it attaches to your physical body? To my pineal gland, my third eye? And where does it connect to your dreaming self? To the back of my head, I'd say, though I can't actually see the connection point. Textbook, it's all just textbook, Max. You really are astral projecting. Is there anything particularly strange about your dreams? Tuesday actually burst out laughing at this question, and Max couldn't help following suit. There, with a full belly on the room temperature lanai overlooking the permaculture garden on a gorgeous December late afternoon, the psychodrama that was Max's life suddenly seemed surreal, absurd, and hilarious beyond words. I gather there's more to this story, said Maisie, which only made the two children laugh harder to the point of doubling over and slapping their knees as they wheezed. That's putting it lightly, Tuesday finally managed to say between fits of giggling. Would you care to clue in your mother? Do you mind if I tell her, Max? Be my guest, he laughed. If she doesn't think I'm a freak by now, she never will. After a minute, the two kids were able to compose themselves, while Max scratched Merlin and, prompted by Maisie, finished off the last of the cheese and fruit. Tuesday, with her typical literary style, proceeded to weave Max's history of increasingly bizarre dreams into something resembling a short story. Max listened along with Maisie, nearly as fascinated as she was, as his own life was laid out in the third person, starting with his earliest notable dreams, continuing through his learning how to bring objects back from the dream world, and ending with his latest visionary dream of himself and his father disappearing into the vortex. When Tuesday finished, Maisie remained quiet for a moment, then said, "That's some heavy stuff. Does your father know all of this, Max?" "Most of it now anyway, everything except my last dream." "What does he make of it?" "He's still making up his mind." "I think you should pull a card." "A card? What kind of card?" "A tarot card. It's a form of divination, a way of comprehending oneself better in the past, present, and future." "Like palm reading?" "Something like that." "Would you like to pull one? It could shed light on why these things are happening to you." "Sure, why not?" "Tuesday, honey, please go get the little deck. I think it's in the parlor." Tuesday was only gone a few seconds before sitting back down and handing her mother a small black deck called the World Spirit Tarot and an accompanying booklet explaining the significance of the individual cards. Making space on the coffee table, Maisie shuffled the deck several times with practiced fingers before spreading out the cards face down. "Now run your hand over the cards," she instructed Max. "Don't touch them, just feel them. Ask your higher guidance to help you select the one card that most clearly speaks to who you are and who you are endeavoring to become." Max suppressed the scientific urge to laugh off this ritual as superstitious foolishness, recalling the epigraph to his mother's field journal, "I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud." He resisted, reaching a premature conclusion regarding something about which he knew virtually nothing, and instead opened his mind and did as he was counseled. Merlin suddenly stirred from sleep, opened his eyes and watched with Maisie and Tuesday as Max ran his hand over the cards, trying to feel them with his fingertips and asking for guidance. Selecting a card that seemed hot, for lack of a better way to describe the odd sensation, he carefully pulled it from the spread. "Flip it over," said Tuesday. He did. The card showed a muscular blue man hanging from a tree limb by a rope attached to one foot, grasping an arrow behind his back with both hands, his long black hair dangling down into a sunken whirlpool the same color as his skin. "What does it mean?" Max asked, seeing the serious look on Maisie's alabaster face framed by coils of scarlet hair. "It's the Hanged Man," she said in a distant, philosophical voice. "That certainly explains a lot." "It really does," said Tuesday in a similar tone of amazement and respectfulness. "The Hanged Man?" asked Max. "That's bad, right? I mean, it can't be good to be hanged." "It's not that simple," said Maisie. "Would you like me to read about this card? Do I have any other choice?" "You always have a choice." "Okay, fire away." Maisie opened the little booklet to the page that discussed the Hanged Man and read, "Suspended between the worlds, the Hanged Man links heaven and earth. He is a visionary, a shaman, a mystic. His connection with the ethereal realm imbues him with psychic powers." "So I'm supposed to be some kind of modern-day medicine man?" Max asked incredulously. "Try to think about it in a more non-linear way." This card is not you, it merely speaks to you, offering insights wherever they apply. Shall I continue? Sure. When the hangman appears, Maisie went on, some element of your life is on hold. You may feel vulnerable and be questioning things you've always taken for granted. Your world may even feel upside down. You got that right, interjected Max. But have faith. Allow yourself to be in suspense for a while. Let go of having every answer. It may not make any sense to you right now, but a reversal of ideas could be exactly what's needed. Is that it? No, there's a little more. Shall I finish? Please. The hanged man often asks for a sacrifice in exchange for his wisdom. Feelings of being stuck or trapped persist only as long as you cling to your usual perspective. If you are willing to give up some belief or attitude that no longer serves you, your reward will be well worth it. You will gain a deeper understanding of your life, and with this new perspective, old dilemmas and chronic problems can be resolved. While Maisie was reading, Max instinctively saw the vortex from his dream as the whirlpool into which the hanged man's hair was dipping. The arrow behind his back suggested someone who could navigate in two different directions or worlds. He shivered, though it wasn't cold, with the sense that the card really was speaking to him. There now, Max, said Tuesday with her usual cheerfulness, which she somehow managed to maintain even in the face of adversity. That doesn't seem so bad, does it? Do the right thing. Experience the full audio video book today only at solluckmansubstack.com.